Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I have to tell you this story. When I first moved to Savannah, there was a store on Broughton Street. It's no longer there. The owner died. The curator, the buyer, passed away recently, or more recently, I should say. And it was the best store I had ever entered in my entire life. It was an amazing store. The buyer, Joy, she curated things from all over the world, designers I had never heard of. She found things from parts of the world and the globe. It was like going into, it wasn't like a global boutique. It was a beautiful high-end boutique, but it wasn't expensive and everything was cut for me. In fact, I would go in and I would try to look for my size, and she would come out and go, no, you need to go down smaller because of the way it's cut. Look at the cut, never look at the size. She taught me that in such a beautiful way. She was like, look at the cut. You got this little bitty waist. I know you got a big butt, but you got this little bitty waist. This is flaring out. This will fit you. I'm like, girl, I ain't gonna get in that size. And she's like, put it on me, and it would be perfect. The clothes, the textiles, young designers, global designers, places, like I'm not, why would I be looking for a boutique that had clothes from Scandinavia, India, Ghana in the same place? The textiles were rich and wonderful, and nothing was overpriced, spendy. It was just wonderful. And I would go in there like, it was one of the reasons I moved here. When I first came here, I went in there and I was like, what is this place and how is it in this town? I had never been in a boutique that had absolutely every item I wanted. I didn't purchase every item, but everything spoke to me, and it was an amazing place. So anyway, I got to know the owner, I got to know the buyer, I got to find out things about their lives, and they had all transplanted here. I think maybe the owner had been here and then came back to here, but they were all, they came and brought this beauty with them. And so I absolutely loved it. There was another store by the same name on a different street, and I think they were somehow connected, but they didn't have the same buyer. So they didn't have the same items. It wasn't the same experience. And it was just fantastic. So I'm going someplace with this. Anyway, and this was all before I'm making my own clothes. So that's where I got my clothes from. Anyway, I was coming out of the store one day and there was a man on a bike and he looked like he was coming towards me. So I moved out of the way and he looked like he was coming further towards me. And I moved the other direction. I said, I think this man's trying to hit me. So I just moved out into the street so he could have the whole sidewalk. I got my little bags in my hand and he rides his bike and then he's looking at me like this and he's mumbling out. And he rides his bike off the curb and right up to me. Like the front wheel was touching me. And, I stood there. I stood my ground. And he said, what are you doing shopping in there? We can't shop in there. I said, what are you talking about? What? I just see my bags. I just shopped in there. And he started telling me how back in the day, back in the 60s, you couldn't even shop. You couldn't even go on the street. You couldn't ride down the street. You couldn't do anything on the street. You couldn't shop in that store. And so I shouldn't be shopping there. And I said, was it called Gaucho's back then? He said, no, it was a different store. I said, yeah, it's a different store. And there's different people. And I'm different. And I like the store. And I like these people. These people, they give me deals. And I like everything in this store. And he said, well, you shouldn't shop in here. And I pushed his bike away and I looked at him and I said, sir, my mother told me that everywhere I go in the world, I belong. She said somebody who looked like me or was oppressed like me built it. And that makes me a rightful heir. I said, I don't know what happened then. I said, I got some places in Wilmington, Delaware, where I had never been because they told us that we couldn't go. And now I go to these places and I realized they kept me out for a reason. And now that I can go, I'm going. So move your bike. He moved his bike and grumbled on down the street. My ancestors fought for the right to go, for me to go where I feel that I want to be, that I need to be. There are some dusty old places that don't really want you, that I don't want to be. And I've been in them places, and some of them places I cleaned, and you don't want to go in them places, and you surely don't want to eat in them places. But to choose where you need to go and where you need to be without anybody telling you what you can or cannot do. We cannot change this narrative staying on the other side of the barrier. We cannot change the narrative of what our ancestors worked for. We cannot change the narrative of what folks marched for and fought for and voted for. For us to do that, it's going to take all of us meeting somewhere on a street, in a place, in a purpose, coming together. We are going to get there, but we got to get there together. I love you. I sure wish that store was still around. I probably wouldn't be shopping in there. Well, maybe for the shoes and the, anyway, I love you.